My friend, something is coming. A date has been whispered into my spirit, not like thunder, but like the sound of a still, small voice, clearer than thunder could ever be. And I heard the Spirit say, because I have chosen it. And what happens on that day will not just happen to the world, but to you. God works in time. He marks seasons, opens windows, shuts doors. He ordains days like Passover, like Pentecost, moments when heaven invades earth. June 13, 2025 is one such moment. Let me show you what God revealed about it. God doesn't need a calendar, but when He chooses a day, something eternal invades the temporary. June 13 is like a divine alarm clock. For some, it will be a day of awakening. For others, a day of reckoning. In the Spirit, it's not just a Friday, it's a threshold. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. Revelation 3:20. God is knocking on the door of His people. Are you ready to open? Look through the scriptures. God is a God of patterns. Joseph was thrown into a pit before being lifted to the palace. Israel wandered before they entered the promise. Yeshua was buried before He rose. These aren't just stories. They're prophetic templates. God said, watch June 13, because what has happened before will repeat, but in a new form. Expect old battles to resurface, but this time you won't be fighting them alone. You'll be fighting them with revelation. On June 13, there will be shaking in the natural and in the spiritual. God showed me images of towers trembling, systems faltering, and individuals being brought to their knees. But listen carefully. The shaking is not the end. The shaking is the beginning. God shakes what can be shaken, so what cannot be shaken will remain. Yet once more I will shake, not only the earth, but also the heavens. Hebrews 12:26. He's shaking us to awaken us. Secrets will be exposed, both in the world and in hearts. Some of you have been hiding in caves of fear, sin, or complacency, but God is about to call you out. Like He called Lazarus, come forth. God is uncovering the hidden, because you can't heal what you won't reveal. On June 13, masks will fall, truth will speak, and what was buried will be raised. Just like the sheep and the goats, the wheat and the tares, God is separating, not to punish, but to purify. Those who have played with compromise will have to choose. No more mixing light and dark. No more lukewarm. On June 13, a line will be drawn. Where you stand will matter. You won't be able to hide behind religion. You'll need a real relationship. The shaking is not to destroy you. It's to awaken you. God is calling a remnant to rise. Those who are ready to carry the fire, speak the truth, walk in holiness. June 13 isn't the end, it's a beginning. He's raising up Davids to defeat giants, Esther's to intercede for nations, Daniel's to stand in lions' dens and still not bow. The call is not just to survive, it's to lead. Let me tell you about a man I met. He was bound by addiction, shame, and defeat. He marked June 13 on his calendar, not knowing why, but God did. That day, something shifted in him, not because of magic, but because he responded. Or the woman who had a dream weeks before June 13th of doors opening. That morning, she got the job she had prayed for years. Coincidence or divine appointment? These aren't fairy tales. These are patterns of power. And you're next. Here's what you must do before June 13th, 2025. Repent boldly. Clean the temple, not with casual confessions, but with holy fire. Pray intentionally, not just prayers for comfort, but prayers for consecration. Fast something meaningful. Show heaven you're serious. Ask God to search you. Search me, O God, and know my heart. Psalm 139 marked that day. Set it aside. Be in the presence of God. Expect visitation. There are moments in time that seem ordinary to man, but are marked by the finger of God. We walk through days as if they are common, but some days are uncommon in the eyes of heaven. June 13th, 2025 is not just another day. I heard it whispered, not by men, not from media, but in the secret place. I didn't ask for it. I wasn't looking for it, but it came like a spark in the dark, like a pulse from another realm. And the Lord said, watch this day, for I have appointed it, have set it apart. There are days that change kings and kingdoms, days that shift nations and birth revivals. June 13 will be one of those days. Not because man has planned it, but because God has ordained it. He doesn't ask the world's permission when he moves. He doesn't consult calendars or politicians. He simply moves. And when he does, what was asleep awakens and what was hidden is uncovered. On this day, some will tremble and others will rise. Some will be shaken and others will be sent. It will be a line drawn, a trumpet blast, and only those who are listening will hear it. I asked the Lord, why this date? And the answer came not as a sentence, but as a vision. I saw a scroll opening, a season shifting, a page turning. I saw people standing at a threshold, some in fear, some in fire. He said, it is a time of alignment, a time of exposure, a time when I mark those who are mine. You see, God moves in time. From Genesis to Revelation, he marked days. He chose the 14th of Nisan for the Lamb, the 50th day for Pentecost, the 10th day of the 7th month for atonement. These weren't random. They were signs, prophetic appointments, moedim, divine rehearsals. And June 13, 2025 is such a time. A moed, a moment of visitation. If we are too busy, we will miss it. If we are too distracted, we will overlook it. But for those who seek, they will find. For those who knock, the door will open. For those who prepare, there will be oil in their lamps when the bridegroom comes. And as I prayed, the Lord took me deeper. He said, what is coming is not new, it is repeated. God doesn't improvise. He moves in patterns. What he has done before, he will do again. Not in the same form, but in the same principle. The enemy repeats, but so does God. The flood, the fire, the wilderness, the exile, the return, the cross. All patterns. And if you want to understand what he's about to do, you must remember what he has already done. The days of Noah were not just about rain. They were about corruption, about warning, about a remnant building in obedience while the world laughed. And then came the door, shut by the hand of God. June 13 will be such a day, not of a flood of water, but a float of decision. Where you stand will matter. You cannot ride the fence when the earth is shaking. And what about Joseph? Betrayed, cast into the pit, forgotten in the prison until the appointed time. One moment he was bound, the next he was lifted. The pattern is clear. There is always preparation before promotion, testing before releasing. God doesn't skip steps. He refines before he reveals. June 13, 2025 will bring a shift. For some, it will be the opening of a prison door. For others, it will be the moment they recognize the pit was not their end, but their positioning. The season that looked like silence was actually strategy. The delays were designs, the setbacks were setups. God is not late, he is perfect in timing. The patterns are not just in the scriptures, they are playing out now. The shaking in the world is not just political or economic, it is prophetic. God is speaking through the storms, through the divisions, through the confusion. He is calling his people to recognize the signs. The fig tree is blooming. The days of deception are here. The harvest is ready, but the laborers must arise. Do not wait until June 13 to wake up. Wake now. Prepare now. Seek now. Because when that day comes, it will not be a time to begin building. It will be a time to step into what has already been built. Those who ignore the warning will be caught unaware. But those who prepared will not just survive, they will lead. So hear me now. This is not just a prophecy. It is a summons. Heaven is watching. Hell is trembling. And your response will determine your place in the shaking and your role in the rising. The Spirit of the Lord spoke again and said, before I reveal, I must shake. And so it has always been. Before the light breaks through, there is trembling. Before the walls fall, there is a shout. Before the promise is birth, there is pain. The shaking is not the end. It is the signal that something is about to begin. And on June 13th, 2025, there will be a shaking, not just in the visible world, but in the invisible, not only in systems of power, but in the hearts of men. I saw it in prayer, a trembling, not of the ground alone, but of the soul. People in high places brought low, people in hiding brought out, a tearing of the veil between appearance and truth. And I asked the Lord why. He said, because I am preparing a people who cannot be moved. But first I must move everything that can be. The shaking is mercy. It's the voice of God saying, I will not let you build on sand. The shaking strips away what is false. It confronts what is weak. It exposes what we have leaned on besides Him. And though we fear it, we must not resist it, because on the other side of the shaking comes the shining. I saw people walking through fire, but coming out radiant. I saw those who had been crushed rise with new strength. The Lord said, I am refining, not destroying. He is removing the lesser so the greater can emerge. This is the furnace. This is the threshing floor. This is the moment when gold is separated from dross, when wheat is separated from chaff, when the bride prepares herself. Some of you have felt the shaking already, not on June 13, but leading up to it. Relationships falling away, foundations cracking, prayers unanswered, doors closed. And you've wondered if you've missed it. But I tell you now, you're not being punished, you're being positioned. The shaking is not for your ruin, it is for your revealing. God is not trying to break you. He's trying to build you into something that will not break. There is always a shaking before the shining. The cross came before the resurrection. The exile came before the return. The upper room was entered in fear, but it shook with fire, and so it shall be again. Do not curse the shaking. Let it awaken you. Let it align you. Let it cleanse the temple of your heart. And then the Lord showed me what comes after. When the dust settles, when the noise quiets, when all that was not built on Him is gone. That's when the unveiling begins, because once the false is shaken away, the hidden can be revealed. There are things buried deep in your life, in your calling, in your purpose, that you have not yet seen, not because they are not real, but because they have been concealed for an appointed time. And that time is drawing near. June 13 is not only a time of shaking, it is a time of revealing. I saw scrolls unrolled. I saw mantles falling on people who didn't even think they were chosen. God is about to pull people out of obscurity, not because they have made a name for themselves, but because they've said yes in the secret place. Because they've remained faithful when no one was watching. Because they've worshiped when no one clapped. Because they obeyed when it cost them everything. And God said, now I will reveal them. But it will not stop with individuals. It will pierce churches. It will enter into corridors of power and drag into the light what has long been hidden in darkness. There will be no more hiding, no more covering, no more pretending. The Lord will uncover corruption not to shame, but to bring truth. He will expose lies not to mock, but to redeem. This will be a painful grace, because the truth sets free, but only after it stings. Some will fall because they refuse to face it. Others will be healed because they finally confess it. There will be public unravelings, but there will also be personal awakenings. And in the middle of it all, God will raise up those who are unashamed, those who walk in light because they have nothing to hide, those who carry fire because they have let the Spirit burn away their pride. And they will shine, not with borrowed glory, but with heaven's authority. You are not reading this by accident. You are being called, not to watch from a distance, but to step into the fire, endure the shaking, and embrace the unveiling. Because the same God who shakes the heavens is the one who reveals what the enemy tried to bury. And on June 13, what has been hidden will not remain so. The question is not what God will do. The question is, will you be ready when he does it? I saw a line being drawn, not with ink, not with chalk, but with fire. It was not a line man drew, but one drawn by the Spirit of God. It moved across families, across churches, across hearts. And the Lord said, the time of mingling is over. The time of mixture is done. No more can light dwell with darkness. No more can compromise wear the garments of holiness. The day is coming when the gray areas will vanish and what is true will stand apart from what is false. There is a separation beginning. It is not about denomination, culture, or preference. It is about covenant. It is about consecration. God is drawing out a people, not perfect, but purified. Not flawless, but faithful. Not the crowd, but the remnant. This is not the hour of the lukewarm. It is the hour of decision. On June 13, something in the spirit realm will be divided. That which has looked the same on the outside will be revealed by its roots. The wheat and the tares have grown together, but now the harvest comes, and with it, the separation. God is not fooled by appearance. He sees the heart. He sees what men cannot see, and he is calling his people to stand apart. This will not be an easy divide. Some will weep, some will resist, some will cling to the old wineskins, refusing to let go. But the new cannot be poured into the old. The holy cannot mix with the profane. Those who try to walk both paths will find themselves torn. The middle ground is vanishing. The line is being drawn, and it is not a line of suggestion. It is a line of truth. I saw believers who once hid behind busyness suddenly confronted by stillness. Those who once said someday, now faced with now. There will be no more delay. The time for deciding is upon us. Some will walk away, not because God failed them, but because their hearts were never fully hid. But others will rise. Others will say, though none go with me, still I will follow. They will walk through the fire and not be burned. They will go where he sends them, speak what he gives them, and live like they belong to another world, because they do. And then I saw the call, a trumpet, a cry, a voice going forth in the wilderness. Not a voice of entertainment, but a voice of urgency. Not a message to coddle, but a word to commission. The Lord said, I am calling my people to rise. Not just rise in title, but in truth. Not just in position, but in purity. The days of shallow faith must end. The days of entertainment Christianity are over. The days of spectators in the kingdom are done. God is calling his army to stand, to awaken, to move with fire in their bones. I saw young people laying down their addictions, their distractions, their idols. I saw elders who thought their time was over suddenly lit again with holy vision. I saw mothers praying like warriors and fathers leading like kings. I saw voices rising, not famous ones, but faithful ones. Those who had no platform but carried heaven's authority. God is not impressed with crowds. He is moved by commitment. He is not seeking performance. He is seeking obedience. And to those who will rise, he will give what cannot be bought. Discernment in an age of deception. Power in a time of weakness. Boldness when fear rules the land. And peace in the middle of storms. But the rising won't come without cost. You must leave some things behind. You must silence some voices. You must walk away from comfort and say yes to calling. You must stop living for applause and start living for assignment. The road is narrow, the way is costly, but the glory is beyond imagination. June 13 is not just a date, it is a summons. It is the sounding of heaven's trumpet over your life. God is not asking for the talented, the eloquent, or the perfect. He is looking for the surrendered, the available, the willing, those who say, "Here am I, Lord, send me." And if you rise, if you say yes, if you step over that line, then the fire will come, the Spirit will fill, the power will fall. You will walk where others fear to walk. You will speak what others are afraid to say. You will stand when others bow, and your life will no longer be your own. It will become a weapon in the hand of the living God. So I ask you, when the line is drawn, when the shaking begins, when the trumpet sounds, where will you be? Among the many or among the few? Among the passive or among the rising? Among the compromised or among the consecrated? Because the time is now. The call has gone forth. Heaven is waiting for your answer.